Hi everyone, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, Life Between Words. Today we're going to do not a flip through, but a plan with me video for my reading journal spreads for the month of March. The month of March, some of you may know, is Middle Grade March that I host with a couple of my friends, Krista from Books and Jams and Amanda from The Curly Reader. And this month for Middle Grade March, I decided to do the theme of Matilda, which I had been planning to do since January. The supplies that I use are mainly acrylograph pens, which are paint pens, and they show up really well on the black paper. So the acrylograph pens are from Archer and Olive. They do sell paint pens like on Amazon that you can get for much less expensive. I just really love the color palettes that Archer and Olive offers with their paint pens, so I kind of splurged and got myself some of those paint pens. I will say that they take a little bit of getting used to. Sometimes the paint doesn't flow very well, and I haven't really figured out how to troubleshoot that. You'll see me I've sped up enough that it might be kind of hard to tell, but you might be able to see me struggle a little bit on the H. As I color in the H, the paint does not want to flow. It doesn't want to saturate. And so I get really frustrated, but I sped this up, so it might be a little hard to tell. And I'm just gonna let you listen to some music as you watch me color this in. Here on this page, I am creating a March calendar. So last month I had a days read spread, but I ended up really not liking that very much because I pretty much read every day, so it didn't feel very useful to me. It didn't tell me anything. I didn't find it very functional, and I also didn't really like that I had to fill it in every day because I would rather go into it every once in a while and have things to fill out rather than have something that I have to fill out every day. It just felt like too much of a commitment. Maybe that sounds crazy to some people, but I have other commitments. And while I love my book journal, I just can't do that. So instead of doing a day's read spread, I decided to do a reading calendar, I'm calling it, where I track what books I'm reading. Not, day by day, but like how long does it take me to read a certain book? Where do I start and where do I end? So you'll see me fill in the first couple, because on Monday through Wednesday of March, the 1st through the 3rd, I read The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963, which is amazing, by the way. Such a great middle grade book. So I fill in a line from Monday to Wednesday, and then I have a little key at the bottom where it'll have the color and then the book that I read. So that's how that feels like a more functional way to track my reading over the course of the month than a day's read spread. So that's kind of what I have planned for this month. We'll see how it goes. I'm still fairly new to book journaling, so every month is a little bit of a trial and error for me as to what I'm going to what I'm going to really be drawn to, and what's going to be functional, what's going to be sustainable. That's also a big thing. What's going to be sustainable for me. Also, you can see I did this during my daughter's afternoon nap, and my 4-year-old Wilder is playing there in the background, so you'll see him kind of flit in and out, or his hands will flip in and out of the shot, which is pretty sweet as you're watching it. He brings things over to me, and it's pretty sweet. He's playing coffee there for a while. So you might see little glimpses of Wilder's hands as I'm working here. This is pretty funny because the music keeps lining up to when I need to start talking again. But this is my middle grade March, really my March TBR, but because I'm focusing exclusively on middle grade for the month of March, I'm calling it my middle grade March TBR. My plan, you won't see this yet, but my plan is to, as you watch me color this in, you'll see me draw a stack of books with Matilda sitting on top. And my plan, I have not filled it out yet, but my plan is to write all the titles of the books inside of the spines on the stack. So that's my plan for this page, and we'll see how that goes. This isn't where I track the books that I read. I just mark my potential reads for the month, like what I hope. Like, it really is a TBR stack. I'm not planning on like filling in the book spines with colors as I read the book. No, this is just for me to see what I plan to read for the month of March. And so that's kind of the idea here. Also, I don't know if this is obvious, but I did try to sort of match my lettering on all of these pages like the lettering on the Matilda book. I didn't do a perfect job, but if you look at the Matilda cover, I tried to make the letters look a little bit like Matilda. They're a little bit messier maybe than the font on the Matilda cover, but that was what I was going for, sort of just that idea, the idea of that Matilda font. Like I said, it's not perfect, but I actually really like the way it turned out. It's playful, looks a little bit like Matilda. It turned out pretty well. I'm proud. I'm pleased with it. This page that I'm working on here is for all of the prompts that we have set for middle grade March. It might be a little hard to tell what I've written. I don't really know as I'm recording this, but the top one is the group book, which is The Brave by James Bird, and then we have a silhouette on the cover. The next one is a Strong Family. The third one is Travel or Adventure. Then we have a fairy tale retelling, and lastly, a book from the decade you were born, written in the decade you were born. I plan to use this by filling in each book. For each book I read, I will write the title of that book in whatever prompt it fills. So like for the Watsons Go to Birmingham 1963, that is both it's a book with strong family in it as well as travel or adventure. So I will put the title of that book in both of those boxes. That way I can see, you know, all of the crossover as well as making sure that I complete each prompt. I probably will have multiple for each, except for the group book, obviously, because there's only one, and then potentially the decade you were born, because I really only have one book planned for that. I was born in the 80s, and there were not very many really high quality children's books written in the 80s. I'm not disparaging books like The Babysitter's Club, etc. They definitely have their place, and I should perhaps reread those at some point, but that was not the plan for this month. So I'm only planning on reading Howl's Moving Castle, which was written in the 80s for that one. And then, of course, I have another cute little Matilda that I'm drawing here. every month I have been trying to keep track of the books that I haul and unhaul. So that's what this page is for. Oh, half of this page is also my YouTube tracker. So I keep track of what videos I have filmed and if I've posted them. So I have 2 boxes that I can check off, one for if I filmed it, one for if I posted it. I can also kind of write ideas down there, and then if I don't complete those videos, I can just move them over to the next month. As for the books that I've hauled, I also really want to keep track of the books that I've unhauled. If you've seen my flip through for my 2021 journal, you will perhaps remember a page where I keep track of all the books that I own, because it's a very high number that I own and haven't read, so my unread TBR. And yeah, that's a big shelf, and so I want to end the year with less books than I started the year with on my unread shelf. So I have to keep track of the books that I haul and the books that I unhaul, but only if I haven't read them. So I think what I'm going to do here is, for the books that I have hauled, I will write those books on the right hand side, like in the blank part of the box, and then I might keep track of the books that I unhaul in that stack of books. So I'll write the title of books that I unhaul on the spines there. I haven't fully decided that. I might have to do another spread, a separate spread where I keep track of my unhauled books, but that's just my idea for now, because I kind of like to keep those 2 things in the same spot, but it just depends. Last month I did really terribly on keeping my number of hauled books in check, and middle grade March, all my resolutions kind of go out the door. So we'll see how I do this month. I'm already off to a not great start, but I also plan to be able to read a lot more than I normally do. So we'll just see how it goes with my book buying, the books that I haul and are sent. I get sent quite a few books too, so, and I never know how many books I'm going to be sent. So that also plays a role in that. This page is my reading log, where I keep track of all the books that I've read, who they're by, the author, the star rating, the year it's published, and I can't remember, is there one other thing that I keep track of? Let's see, title, pub date, star. Anyway, I keep track of all of the books that I read. I can't read my writing right now, so, but yeah, I call this my reading log. I have a feeling that I will read, well, I'm very optimistic about this, but if I fill up this page, this is my last page in the reading journal, and if I fill up this page, then I will just go on to the next page and continue it there. But I didn't draw the next page because I guess in my head I'm very optimistic, but I'm also realistic with myself, and something usually comes up in March that prevents me from reading as much as I mean to. So yeah, writing, title, author, pub date, and star rating are what I keep track of here. And page count. Page count is the thing I was forgetting. Yes. This is the last page that I have planned for my reading journal. The rest of my notebook or the rest of the pages for March are filled in with pictures of the books that I've read, as well as brief thoughts about them. And if there's a book that I really love, maybe some extra notes, but that has not been the case so far. It's enough for me to keep up with it. And then here's a flip through of the month of March, all of my spreads. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I love watching videos like this. They're kind of long, but I find them really relaxing. So I hope that you guys have a great March. Let me know if you guys have done a middle grade March reading journal, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.